Welcome back to the channel. And let me start with this. I've been dealing with seasonal allergies for probably 15 years now. Growing up in the Midwest, it was terrible. I've been hospitalized once for it when I went to college and did not have air conditioning, so the windows were open. And being in the middle of the cornfield, no matter which way the wind was blowing, we were always getting pollen covering the campus. And I have always complained about phenylephrine. This is a commonly orally administered drug used as a decongestant. It's part of many cold cough mixes with guaifenesin and other types of drugs like dextromethorphan. However, I never felt like it worked. And so I would sometimes rely on Sudafed or pseudoephedrine. However, this can be more difficult to get. And when I was a younger college student, I was terrified because I had to show my ID. I didn't want them to think I was making some illicit drugs. However, when I was severely congested, this was the only thing that worked until some of the oral nasal sprays gained popularity and wider availability. So recently, the FDA clarified the result of a recent advisory committee on the use of oral phenylephrine, largely because of its potential lack of efficacy when administered as an oral drug. However, this plays really well into the data series we've been undertaking, where we are studying molecules using a couple of Python libraries called PubChemPy and RDKit, where we go down to the molecular level to gain a better understanding of these molecules, how we can compare them, how we can script the data from PubChem. So I want to take a minute to kind of show why we have this variable efficacy between phenylephrine and pseudoephedrine and how that relates to methamphetamine. So here you've seen this data before, where we are using PubChemPy to get a couple compounds, phenylephrine, pseudoephedrine, and methamphetamine. We return this compound data type. Check the previous videos in this series to see what I'm talking about. And then you can generate the canonical smiles, convert that smiles into this molecule, and look at it. And so on this top molecule, I have phenylephrine. Next, I have pseudoephedrine, and at the bottom, I have methamphetamine. And so you can see all three of these molecules are very similar to each other with a couple of distinct differences. Here we have phenylephrine, we have our common ring structure, we have a short aliphatic carbon chain with a couple of substituents with a hydroxyl group, and then we also have this secondary amine. As you can see here, there are some other differences around this ring, and this is where we really see that difference in efficacy coming from. So using more of these tools, we can look at the hydrogen bond count for phenylephrine, and we see that it has a hydrogen bond acceptor of 3. We can look at the hydrogen bond count for pseudoephedrine and methamphetamine and see that as we go down this path, pseudoephedrine has a hydrogen bond count of 2, and methamphetamine has a hydrogen bond count of 1. And so you might be asking, well, what does that mean? Well, this is just one proxy to understand how these particular drugs could be absorbed to the gut. The more hydrogen bond acceptors, the more polar or less lipophilic these compounds are, the more they can be absorbed in the gut. And so if we look at phenylephrine, we have multiple hydrogen bond acceptors, and thus this compound is highly metabolized in the gut. Not much of it makes it into the bloodstream, and thus is not effective when trying to decongest your nasal passages. On the other hand, we have pseudoephedrine, which has a hydrogen bond acceptor of 2, and thus it is slightly more lipophilic and thus does not get as quickly digested in the gut. More of it makes it into your bloodstream and can be delivered to where you need it, in your nose and nasal passages, to give you that benefit. In the most extreme case, we have methamphetamine, which is highly lipophilic. Not much of it is digested in the gut, and more of it makes into your bloodstream, and then from there, get into the blood-brain barrier and give you all of the adverse effects associated with methamphetamine. So this is just a little bit of an insight into how you can use these sorts of tools to come to some real conclusions. There's many more things we can do with this. In any case, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.